Good morning, everybody. Happy third Tuesday of the month. How's everybody doing out there? Excited. What's up, Dylan? What's up, Nicholas? Sasha, Duncan. Hi, Linda. Look at you. Shireen, my little unicorn. Hello. Jared, Robert, Maggie, Cindy, Jojo. Good morning, Jen, Jessica, Rhonda, Shanti. Ooh, get that coffee, Sasha. Get that coffee, girl. I love it. All right. We got a few minutes here. I like getting this thing kicked off to honor the time. We got a great speaker today. I always love the third Tuesday. This is the third Tuesday. We get to bring something amazing in to help inspire us with something that have a value. So we got Roger today. But before we jump in real quick here, want to cover a couple of things. Just want to share something real quick here. Oh, I'm going to do this real quick here. We're coming up here in just about a few weeks. This event right here, the largest one in Hawaii. Oh, shoot. There's okay. Boom.
Build 24 Hawaii, the event of the year you don't want to miss.
Leaders anticipate, losers react.
Awesome. So we're 3 weeks away as of today for Build 24 here in Hawaii. For those who haven't attended Build before, definitely get a chance. It was hosted in Texas for several years. Now we have the great honor and privilege, Shireen and I, to be able to host this out here in Hawaii and the islands for you guys, bringing in 16 top mega producing agents to come in and pour into you guys, infuse value, and bring the fire. So it's going to be an amazing opportunity. Also want to say we got a cool after party. Dylan Tanaka and agency team, thank you for setting this up. I'm going to share this real quick here too. For those who don't, let's see here. Boom. Come on, let's go, internet. All right. Right here, click on it, scan, get your phones out. You get a QR code here. We have a limited space here. Dylan, again, thank you for setting this up over at the Maui Brewing Company, across the street from the Sheraton where the event's going to be at. So May 7th from 7 to 10 p.m. I'm hanging out with all the speakers and the entire Hawaii broker team and your entire Hawaii Ohana. So definitely come out. EXP people are going to be there. It's going to be exciting. Come check it out. So scan that QR code real quick here and get it. Get us in the limited spots there for that. But it's the VIP after party. So we're excited to have that. Again, looking forward to everybody joining us there for Build 24 in Hawaii. If you haven't got your tickets yet, get them before they go out.
50% sold out too, Chris.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, so
look at that.
It's gonna sell out probably in the next week or two. So don't wait. Sleep on it.
You know, it's funny. I talk to some realtors. They're like, "Oh, I haven't got my thing. You procrastinate." I know. That's how we roll. I do it too. So get your stuff before it gets gone. That's not even a word, huh? Before it gets gone. All right. Tell me something good. We haven't had a chance to get on this call in a while. So tell me something good. We have to have something before we get going on the good stuff. What do you guys got for me? Come on.
We got. Hey, Chris. How you doing?
Go for it. Who's that?
It's Linda. Hi.
Oh, go for it, Linda.
Hi. We had a listing that was $1,250,000. Someone put under contract. The buyer ghosted us. We wound up double ending the deal at full commission, and that capped us in 6 weeks.
Woo! They get it here. Icon, here you come again. I feel it.
Yeah.
It works. I love it. You and Rob are amazing. Congratulations. You guys are crushing it there.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's some great news. Who else got some good stuff? Shireen, I think you got something. I know you came out of something, girl.
I did. I had my biggest closing last week for my career. The Obama Vacation House at $15.888 million. So Big deal for me. I'm still pinching myself, but that was a good one.
And it hasn't stopped, right? The momentum, like you say, every time I talk to you, like something else is coming in the pipe that's coming equally. So
Now
it's like
going crazy. It's just going crazy right now. So I'm grateful.
when everybody talks about to have all these big multi-million-dollar deals, did you start selling those like years ago, Shireen? It took you a while to build up to that. So understand that this is a momentum piece that she's built and built and built, and now she is here. So,
but I like this lane, you guys. I like this lane.
Exactly. Congratulations to you and your lane. That's exciting. Awesome. Who else got some good stuff? Come on. Don't be shy. Somebody get married recently. Somebody get divorced recently. Somebody had a new kid recently. I mean, all that could be good news. All that could be bad news. I don't know. It's all how you look at it. The glass half full kind of thing. But nonetheless, it's good. What do you got?
I'll highlight the email that Leo Pajeda sent out this morning about the top 250 teams. If you guys saw that,
Yes.
we're number 13 for 2023 in the whole entire country. And actually, it was more units than I thought. I thought we did 607. It was 621 on the official list. So gotta update my stats on that. But the point that he made in that, which is important in the era that we're in, with all the copycats and all the folks that are trying to be the next EXP, is that 250 list of teams, if they were an independent brokerage, would be the 5th largest brokerage in America, like larger than the whole entire reel, right? So the point is that there's a lot of other models that are similar or could look better, but at the end of the day, the best of the best are here at EXP. And if you want to be around those people and learn from those people, I mean, we wouldn't be here today if we didn't have access to those folks. And so you cannot put a price on the human capital and the access to knowledge and information like we're going to have it build. So just don't forget that we're surrounded by greatness, and that's why we're doing great things.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you for chiming in. Thanks, Dylan. And congratulations, by the way. That's awesome. And you're right. Proximity truly is power. So what rooms are you in right now? Who is your inner circle? Who is your tribe? Who are you connecting with, right? You find out very quickly why you might be declining maybe, or why you're excelling. Check out who you're hanging out with. That might be a big factor. I think Roger will touch on that today, but really it truly is about who you're hanging out with. So awesome. All right. Anybody else before we move on here? We're going to jump into, nope. All right. Okay. Quick mortgage minute here with Duncan. Duncan, my friend, tell me how's it going with the rates right now? Oh, you're muted still, my friend. Oh, still testing 1, 2. There we go. Looks like
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, not good recently. Today we hit the high for the year on rates for 2024. The average 30-year fix hit 7.5% today. It's still well below the high from last fall, but rates have been creeping up. I think the market was expecting too many rate cuts for this year, and expectations have dropped. CPI reports showed some resiliency. Still, inflation is a lot lower than it used to be, and longer-term rates are still headed lower. But we've seen some a little slower path to lower rates than a lot of people were expecting. I want to talk to you guys today about a special product that we have now available that allows you to access your equity a lot easier than you would otherwise be able to. We have had a lot of people with tons of equity now. Equity has increased dramatically since 2008. The average equity has tripled that people have because housing prices have gone up and people have paid down their mortgages. So we have a product called the 5-day HELOC. And I just did one of these personally, and I got funded. I got money in 3 days. So basically what it is, it's a HELOC that is all automated online. You can see some of the requirements here are the options that you have in this matrix. Depending on your credit score, the loan amount you can get for an owner-occupied second home or investment property, and you can get up to $400,000. I just got over $200,000 on a HELOC on a investment property that I have. One of the beauties of this product is it allows you to access investment properties much more easily than others, and you can do it really fast. I needed some cash fast. I have an investment property that I bought 5 years ago, and I put down like 150 back then, and now I was able to pull out more than I had put down. So now I have all that, that's the key to investment. Just let your equity grow, and you can pull out what you put in, and just let the renters pay for your mortgage. It's a really simple application. I can do this on the phone with somebody. Just put the address information, occupancy, name, birth date, and income. One of the also cool things about it is it goes, if you're self-employed, it goes by your last filed tax return. So if you haven't filed your 2023 tax return, and if 2022 was better, it goes by that. So my 2022 was much stronger, so I was able to use that. And that's how they do the verification. It just linked to the IRS transcripts website, and I was able to, I did the application within an hour on a Wednesday night, and I did the signing with an e-notary on my phone the next morning, and had my funds 2 days later by ACH. So it can be done in as little as 2 days on investment property. Primary residence does require a 3-day rescission period, so it takes at least 5 days. So if you got a situation where someone needs to access equity from their home, and if you can do a third lien as well. If you already have a HELOC on a primary residence, they can do a third lien. So if somebody needs to get equity for a new purchase on an investment property or a new primary residence, instead of having to wait the months that it can take at a local bank, we can get a 5-day HELOC done really quickly, access those funds, and allow you to do that within an escrow timeframe. The rates are not the best, but it allows you to access the funds really quickly, and the rates are not great for anybody these days on HELOCs. So we've got now 11 loan officers on 3 islands here, Oahu, Big Island, Maui. Just hired another one on Maui yesterday, so there's actually one more. And you can just feel free to reach out anytime. Here's my contact information. You can scan my pitch card. So if anybody needs to do a 5-day HELOC, or anyone who knows if you have any borrowers or buyers or even sellers who are looking to tap cash, just feel free to reach out, and we can do the 5-day HELOC in minutes. Thanks,
awesome.
Everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Duncan. Appreciate always your insight, my friend. Appreciate it. Hopefully we can kind of keep our fingers crossed and see some rate changes throughout the rest of this year. But then again, don't let it be your thing either. Don't let it be your reason why you're not like motivated to do your business. That's just a glitch. So awesome. Thanks, Duncan. Cool. All right. We're going to move forward to our speaker of the day. We have an amazing opportunity here to be plugged in. And I actually was presented by this person, by Shireen, who met him in Cabo through our team out in Florida, Linda and Rob. And she came back just totally excited about this guy. So I'm super pumped to hear Roger, because mindset is my thing too. I love this space. This is what I can sit in all day long and talk about. So this is my lane. So I appreciate it. We got Roger, who is a well-renowned speaker, performance coach, successful entrepreneur, 32 years of experience, developing leadership development experience, and been instrumental in helping scale several businesses into corporations, multi-million-dollar corporations. And his passion is to help people discover their fullest potential, which I love this because he's on the call today to help each and every one of us find your fullest potential. I think right now in this space we're in, we all kind of need it. I see a lot of people across social media right now that are kind of in the gutter. Like they're in this like blur, and they need some spark or some jumper cables in their life right now. So Roger, I hope you brought your jumper cables, my friend, because you need to jumpstart us today. This table is yours, my friend. Take it over.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate the time. And I know you all are super busy. Shireen and I had a great discussion, had a great time with Linda and Rob, my better half. So really understand that taking a segment out of your day to do this. So as I was putting this together, I went, okay, how do I bring them the fire, keep it short? Because again, as Chris had said, you can go down so many lanes, so many channels, because mindset, what I think is unfortunate is you'll hear some people say, well, I did Tony Robbins, I did this, I've done my mindset, and it just never changes. And so just to give you my background, a lot of people think by the time they hear me speak or see me speak, they're like, wow, you must have came from, wealth and all this other fun stuff. I didn't. My dad, his best year, made about $24,000 a year. I was the 5th of 6 kids, first one to graduate high school, the only one to do any college. And literally, I was just so determined to figure out what wealthy, successful people were doing that my broke family couldn't figure out. And so as I continue to climb the ladder and make multiple 6 figures and just keep growing, I had this passion. I was like, okay, what was it that my family was missing that I could just kind of go teach other people? And that was really my passion. I'm reminded about that because we were in Cabo having some fun. And next thing you know, somebody starts talking and it just comes out and I light up and it's energy and everything else. And so what I'm about to share with you is kind of touching on all areas of life, mind you. This isn't you're going to be a master of anything. It really is. Hopefully there's a nugget in there for you to kind of get going. But I really look forward. Shireen was dangling a little carrot of coming to Hawaii. And so I'm pretty sure we'll take her up at some point on that and come out and see everybody. What I'm going to do is share my screen here. And let's see here. Make sure I can. Well, I'm not sure why that's not showing. Can you see that? No.
Not yet.
It's let me. If not, then I'll be doing it myself. And
it should be able to. If you click the arrow up, it gives you option to pick which tire screen or just an actual link.
Yeah, I have that. And Chrome tab, tire screen. All right, well, why don't we try that? And then I'll just put the PowerPoint up so then I'll be flying a little blind. So now will you be able to see it?
There we go. Something's popping up right now. There we go. Roger.
There we go.
There we go.
So I know you're like, who's this Vin Diesel lookalike this morning, and you're off doing things. And so, like I said, I didn't come from wealth. I didn't come from success. The things I had, the things I've accomplished truly was me thrusting myself with people that had everything I wanted. And I would just pick their brain, ask their questions. I've done Tony Robbins. I've had dinners with John Maxwell. I've done all these things, and it's not a bragging thing. I was just so thirsty and determined, saying, what was it that my family was missing? And how could I then learn that and teach others? And that's where my passion truly came from. So when I talk about my real passion about helping people discover their full potential, the first question you got to start with is, what is full potential? Because every single day it's changing, right? There was a point that, the Wright brothers, that was full potential. We had never flown before. Then bam. And now I kind of laugh with the space shuttle because now we're talking about populating Mars and stuff like that. So even as I build this content, the world continues to move forward and you really start to go, well, what is my full potential? The real question about it is, and it's just for time, I'll keep it short. Usually it's a little bit more interactive, but it's, do you ever reach your full potential? And the answer is no. And it's really when you die. Because a lot of times people think, well, if I got here, then my life would change. And if I got here, things would become different. And so that's some of the biggest things that we tell ourselves. So some bare bones basics that I want to help people teach. One is I remember, growing up, my dad was literally like, look, if you could just figure out how to make six figures, life will be, great and everything else. I'm sure a lot of you thought the same thing. So I remember 24, had made my first six figures and I'm looking around. I'm like, well, why am I still broke? Like, I don't get this. Like, I thought if I got to six figures, it was coasting. And what I had learned is that no matter how far you move up, there is a bell curve. And so a lot of times you see the bell curve as the low performers, average, and high performers. But just think about this. If you all of a sudden became the top 1% of the world, you now enter a new bell curve, right? If you're like, man, I became a millionaire. But guess what? How many different levels of people are there? Are you the wealthiest person in the world? Still no. There's a whole nother quantum level, a whole nother bell curve that you now have to go apply what you did just to get to there. So a lot of people think your full potential is this destination you're getting when we know it's really a journey. And I know this really helps release the weight off of a lot of people's shoulders, because what ends up happening is that they go, okay, yes, I became icon. Yes, I did it. Well, guess what? Now you got a whole nother bell curve, where, oh my gosh, I just want to hit icon, and you hit icon. You're like, well, now I want to do $16 million listings, and now how, and it's just a forever ladder you're climbing. And so a lot of people just throwing that out there and just letting people know that if you can't master the small stuff, there's no way you're going to be able to do a $16 million listing. If you can't handle the transactions, the customer service, the gifts, the follow-ups, all those other things, you're going to be lost when you get to the $16 million listing, to where a lot of real estate agents are going, yeah, but if I could just get one of those, then I'll be all set. And so what we talk about, and I love throwing out definitions, is about beliefs. A belief, the definition is a feeling of absolute certainty. Okay. And so I want to throw that, because I'm going to ask you guys to turn off your mics and throw out just a bunch of conversation in a second. But an empowering belief is something I can do it and everything else, right? And a limiting belief is all those things that we say to ourselves. So real quick, and I'm literally saying like 10, 15 seconds, I want you to unmute, throw out self-limiting beliefs that you have said to yourself, and I'll give you I'm not smart enough. I'm not educated enough. What are some other ones that you have said to yourself on a regular basis? Just real quick.
Don't have enough time.
Not enough time.
I didn't learn enough.
What was that?
I didn't learn enough yet.
Didn't learn enough yet. What other ones?
I'm not like everybody else.
Not like everybody else. So we'll stick with 3 there. Just let me explain those concepts, right? If I ask you in your head most of the time, are you speaking negatively to yourself or positively? And most people will admit that they live in the negative. I'm not smart enough. I'm not rich enough. I wasn't born in the right family. I don't have the right listings. I don't have the right mentor. I don't have the right luck. All these things, right? And all it is you're just constantly cramming that in your head, which honestly is just a way to say, hey, that's my escape of why I don't have what I want. It's because of something else, right? And so these things are called self-limiting beliefs. And some of you, some of this, you're like, yeah, of course I know that. But just think about that. I'm not educated enough. I'm not long enough in the business. Whatever those different things, all it is a bunch of BS, right? So on a count of 3, what does BS stand for, right? 1, 2, 3, let's clear the air. BS stands for?
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Chris, I'm so sorry, man. This is an HR. Look, it's belief system. But hey, but guess what? BS is the bullshit that we tell ourselves. It is. We start believing it. Like, well, I can never be icon because of this. I can never do this because of that. And so one of my favorite things that I love touching upon and doing is about the patterns of what life happens, right? And so everything starts from those beliefs. So on the left-hand side, if I go, well, look, I believe I could be icon, what happens is there's 4 results that happen every single time. So it has to start with the belief that I can be icon. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's going to happen. I absolutely know it with certainty. And not hope. One of my favorite things is people go, well, I hope to hit icon. I hate the word hope. And the reason being is hope is begging and praying and wishing and everything else. Faith is where it's at. I know without a shadow of a doubt, I will hit icon or die. Like that's the mentality that people need to create, that I will absolutely create this stuff. So it starts with that belief, right? And now when you go, well, I'm going to be icon. And then you start going, well, what is the potential of that? They start to see themselves be able to do that. And then what ends up happening is they start taking actions. And after a while, guess what? They achieved the result. And guess what it did? It reaffirmed the belief that I knew I could hit icon. Now let's use the other way. You have some people on this call even, they're like, no, but you don't understand. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough education. I don't have the right knowledge. I don't have enough learning, all these things. And so you know what? They don't see the potential of them being able hitting icon. So what type of actions do you think they take? Hardly any, to be honest, because they already told themselves it's not possible. And guess what? Now, when it's the next icons are announced, everything else, and they're not one of the people, they're like, see, I told you. And all it did was reaffirm that belief, and it goes right back down that path again. And so patterns are everything. And that's why you've heard some of this, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're absolutely right. And it's the people who just go, you know what? Without, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to talk to anybody. I'm going to do extra work. I'm going to do whatever it takes to go achieve that. And I promise you, through the repetition of doing this, you will start to see that no matter what you put your name on, it's just going to happen. And it's not because it became easier. You know, you can ask, you know, a $16 million listing wasn't just easier. Sure, everybody just sees the dollar signs, but the amount of work and efforts and attention to detail that you had to do at that type of level. So now let's talk about fears, right? Because fear is what really traps us in where we're stuck at. And what a lot of people don't realize is that at birth, you're only born with 2 fears, fear of falling and fear of loud noises. So now I would ask you, well, what are all the other fears you have? And people will say, well, snakes and this and, the world ending and, a lot of different things, right? That we have all these fears. Everything else was programmed through your senses. You heard that, you know what, hey, the solar eclipse is going to happen, the world is going to end, Y2K, you name it, right? There's a bunch of this stuff out there, and people hear this, start believing it. What they saw, the taste, the touch, the smell, and what ends up happening if people then start to believe it, now it becomes in their fear, in their spectrum, and you realize that, you know what, you were only ever born. So that program, that what Chris was saying, the proximity of the people you're with, because if they're constantly talking about the Debbie Downers of why Icon's not possible, why a $16 million listing went to somebody else and not you and everything else, you're going to start believing it, and it's going to start doing that. Now at the bottom there, and I'm going to look at my phone here because it's one of my favorite stories. And you see this message that I have down there. It might be good and it could be bad. And so a short little story. There once lived a poor farmer who lived in a poor village. But this farmer was considered very rich and fortunate because he owned a horse. One day, his horse ran away. His neighbors came to his farm to say they were sorry for his misfortune. But the farmer said, you know what? I don't know. It could be bad. It could be good. Several days later, the horse returned with 6 strong horses. Once again, the neighbors came by the time to congratulate, but the farmer again once said, I don't know, it could be bad, it could be good. Sometime later, the farmer's son went riding on one of the wild horses, but he fell off and broke his leg and arm. The neighbors came by to console the farmer, but the farmer said, I just don't know. It could be bad, it could be good. A year later, a fierce war broke out between the farmer's country and the neighboring country. Many young men were drafted in the army. When the army came to draft the farmer's son, they found that he was disabled, thus exempting him from military service. So again, it's an ancient story, but it's one of those things that every situation, there is no failure. You're either learning or growing, and that's the mindset that you have to be able to take on. So like I said, the question that I would ask you by default, do you feel your world is mostly filled with more positive or more negative? And most of you, and like I said, just because of the time, I want to be respectful, it's negative. If you turn on the news, like it's constantly, you know, my gosh, my gerbil got killed in a drive-by shooting, and, you know, this happened here and that, just negative, 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 negative. And what ends up happening is those people start to believe that's what the real world is. You know, think about a bumblebee. By all imagine, a bumblebee should not be able to fly. A body that big and wings that small, and a bumblebee flies. And you know why a bumblebee can fly? Because it doesn't have ears to listen to the people telling you it can't. And it's just that simple. So let's talk about how we're programmed and our default settings. So like I said, if we're programmed with negative, where do we get that positive belief? Now it goes back to those patterns, those belief systems, all those things that we talked about. And so in the meantime, if you're not doing things purposeful to grow yourself, to add positive programming, what ends up happening is because we will sit there and be stuck in growth and stunted. So we need to put intentional programming, you know, not patting myself in the back, taking time out for lessons like this, reading personal development, growing, listening to it in your car, whatever. Because if you typically just, you're not aware to it, but the constant Facebook, everything else, negative, 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 negative. If you're not intentionally programming yourself, you slowly become that. So ultimately what happens is when you do enough intentional programming, your mind now starts telling you anything is possible. Because I'll tell you, I always joked around, anybody that knows my family, I love them to death, I was the white sheep of the family. Everyone's like, well, Roger, it's just because you're smarter than us. That's why you got to where you are. No, I just absolutely knew what I wanted. Nothing was going to stop me. And I will tell you, there were a lot of ups, there were a lot of downs, but my eye was on the prize 100% of the time. If you think about it, the other thing too, and I'll share a quick little story. I remember one of my first mentors, and I think I was mid-20s, and he goes, Roger, how much money do you want to make? And I go, a lot. He goes, that's not a number. I go, okay, how about $1 million? He goes, how about it? I'm like, okay, I want to make $1 million. So he folds up his book and everything else. He says, well, we're done. Everything's all taken care of. I'm like, whoa, time out. What happened? And he goes, Roger, if you add up the money you've made over your lifetime, you are well over $1 million. And I said, but wait, that's not what I meant. And he goes, rule number 1, be more specific in the things you want. Think about every new year. We'll go, hey, I want to be healthier and wealthier. Great. Here's an apple. Here's a quarter. Happy New Year. And they're like, no, that's not what I meant. Well, because we're so vague about things, we then sit there and then we go, well, we didn't hit what we want. We didn't get what we wanted in the universe. We didn't get what we prayed for because you weren't specific enough. You didn't share it with the people closest to you. You didn't share it with the people on this call, your mentor, all those people that you're surrounded with that says, hey, I'm going to push you and pull you up when you're down because we're going to get you on that stage for Icon. We're going to get you to a $16 million listing. We're going to get you that new house, that new car, that lifestyle, your child to college, whatever that is. But we got to get better at sharing the things that we want with the people that we love around us. When I would go around to organizations, because again, at one point I was working with Verizon, traveling the country, they literally, presidents and vice presidents would call me up. I got a struggling market. My job was to fly in, observe the organization top to bottom, find out where the problem was, implement new training, and turn these organizations around. It's been a huge passion of mine. And I will tell you, the thing I would used to teach them is a lot of people. Think about you. The real estate world is everything about relations. But I've been at get-togethers and everything else. And you're like, oh, what do you do? I do real estate. Okay, well, enough said about that. And we move on. We minimize what we do versus really taking that time to say, this is what I do. This is how I help people. This is how, people weren't even knowing they were in the market. I was able to help them find their next house because those little seeds you're planting along the way. And if you're not patting yourself and breathing that success to other people and telling everybody your accomplishment, guess what? That's when they find out, well, why did you go get that other realtor? You're like, you knew I did that. You're like, oh, I forgot. Why? Because you minimized it when you said what you do. So let me talk about something else now. The world is always acting in perfect balance. And this is where some of you are like, Roger, I know you're trying to do positive programming, but like, have you turned on the TV? Like, there's a lot of bad stuff happening. And I would absolutely tell you, the world is always working in perfect balance. So think about 9/11. 9/11 is one of the most horrific things that happened in the US, but you saw unity come together immediately of all the people helping and repair, New York and everything else. The same exact things that are happening in the world are going on around you. You cannot have mountain peaks without valleys. You can't have wealth without poverty. You can't have, the love of your life if you haven't experienced loneliness. So when you start to understand you need both of them in your life, and you need to be able to welcome those low points to really understand and appreciate the top. Because again, if everything was a mountain peak, it would just be the level ground again. So again, it goes back to that bell curve we talked about and everything else, is that you need the highs and lows in life. And so in the meantime, now when you're in that valley and you climb to the top of the mountain and now you're looking at, that's when it's worth it. When you work year after year after year and you finally get a $16 million listing close, that's when you're like, wow. But if everybody just, got past their classes and got their real estate license, and the first thing they did was a $16 million deal, it wouldn't be a big deal. Icon wouldn't be a big deal. So you need to be able to welcome, why am I in this moment? What is it that I need to learn to get to that next level, to get to that step? Because it truly is a journey. So one of the things that I learned through life, when I talk about the world operating in a perfect sphere, is that it's in perfect balance. And some of you, I'm going to throw out some of this, and I really want you to think about some of the people you spend time with. And Chris kind of touched on this. If you talk about, and I say, this says small, but I would call below average people. These are the people, if you think about the people in your life that are constantly talking about problems, they're negative, they're entitled, the government owes them this, the world should do this, all this, the scarcity mindset. There's no accountability. It's never their responsibility. It's always somebody else's fault, and they complain all the time. Now you have average people, and they talk about sports, weather, things and stuff that, quite frankly, you'll spend an hour with somebody like this, and then you part ways, and you're like, okay, well, that was an hour of my life I can never get back. But if you look at the people and pick whatever your name you want, because they vary, people would say Gandhi changed the world, and the Pope, and, pick whatever name that you would put on there, Steve Jobs, Tim Cook, whatever, right? Those people are talking about solutions. They're positive typically. They're talking about the possibilities, right? Because the only way an iPod even came to existence was, what is the possibility of that happening? And then they take full accountability. Yep, the buck stops here. I remember Oprah Winfrey went through a situation with her schools across the globe, and she said, the buck stops here. It's my responsibility, and turn it around. But you'll see those other people. Nope, it wasn't me. Nope, it wasn't me. Nope, had nothing to do with me. The good is all because of me, but the bad, no, that's over there. And the other thing about the great people is they have an abundance mindset. I mean, think about Elon Musk, about like, look, I'm going to colonize Mars. Hey, I'm going to take one of these roadster Teslas and Teslas and throw it into the space, and let's see what happens. So there's an abundance mindset that a lot of times in sales, real estate, and everything else, that we have this scarcity, like, no, you don't understand that listing. That's gone. There's every single day somebody is selling, somebody is buying, somebody's passing away. There's so many different things. And if you're stuck in the small stuff, or more importantly, the people that you spend time with, if that's all they're doing, you slowly become that person. You've heard, and this is an example that I did there in Cabo that I can't do here, that if I get to do in front of you, I can do. But the power of your subconscious mind, if you don't believe it up here, it's never, ever going to happen. And I tell you, some of you will say, yeah, I know, I say my rituals, I say my good things and all that, but you need to absolute faith and certainty know it is going to happen. I don't know when, but it will absolutely happen. And I can tell you, a funny story, geez, I don't even know when I bought my first Maserati, but I remember anytime, Maggie would call me and say, well, where are you? I'm like, well, I'm at the Maserati dealership. And this was like sometimes 9 o'clock at night, walk in the dealership like it was my car. Like, I'm like, nah, why would you buy that color? Oh, this. And I'm looking and homes that I've bought. I drove through neighborhoods like, if I had $15 million, why would you do that to your landscape? Like, I acted as if I was already there. And so I'm going to teach you one of the biggest things that you need to reverse today. One of the things with self-limiting beliefs is we are wired and programmed poorly right from the beginning. Here's what I mean. Many of you have these beliefs that if you had something different than you currently have, that means you would do something you're currently not doing, and then you would have it. So like an example, well, if I had Chris's sales team, I would be showing up different. I'd be on time. I'd be doing more personal development. I'd be doing more listings. And then I would be successful, wealthy, whatever terms you want to use, right? You've used this. If I had more time, I'd go to the gym and then I would be, a model. If I had more money, I would have more in the bank and then I would be this. If you're not currently being able to accomplish, let's use money, for example. If you have a small sum of income and you can't find a way to put small dollars away, you're not going to be able to do it when you have large money. It's the biggest lie we tell ourselves. What you need to start adapting is the complete opposite. You need to act as if you're already there. I'm already a millionaire. I'm already a real estate agent doing $16 million listing. I'm already icon on that stage this year or next year, whenever they do that list. Like, when you make definitive statements like that, and now you start going, okay, well, what did those icons do? What did the person do and that got $16 million listing? Now, if you think and believe you can do it, you start doing the things that those people do. It's only a matter of time that you have that money. I use that, or success, or icon, or $16 million. I use an example. Wealthy people have savings. They invest, they do all those things. But a lot of us go, well, you don't understand. If I had more money, then I would save money, and then I would do something different. And it's the biggest lie we tell ourselves. And so my daughter, I just sent this to her this morning because we had a conversation last night. And a lot of people just show you, it says saving just 50 cents a day will get you $18,250 in a year. Now, just let that sink in, because a lot of people, you don't understand. I'm so poor, I'm po. I can't even afford the OR. That's what a lot of people think like. But if I had more money, I'd magically start saving. Look, 50 cents a day gets you 18,000 at the end of the year. And so again, it shows you about the power of the abundance mindset and things like that. So the things we just talked about, the biggest difference between the most successful people, the wealthiest people, the icon achievers, the $16 million plus listings, the only difference between the most successful people that you envy and the unsuccessful people in the world is nothing more than the 6 inches between their ears. That's it. There's no like, well, I don't have enough education. I don't have enough learning. Think about this. Steve Jobs he dropped out of college to go do that. Bill Gates dropped out of college to go build Microsoft. So it's not the schooling. Well, yeah, but if I had a different family, look, I came from, I love them, but I'm telling you, I have some very interesting stories to tell you about my family. And people would go, there's no way you came out of that breed. I'm like, I did. And so it's a determination. It's the thinking that goes on. And people keep thinking, though, from that scarcity mindset, but I'm missing something. I'm missing something. You're not. You're absolutely perfect the way that you are. I could not do this meeting like Chris. I could not go be Linda or Rob or anybody. I can be the best me. And so that's where a lot of times where I think social media has done us a disservice is where, we used to see what was happening in our neighborhood, and that was our small little area we compared ourselves to. But now with a massive Facebook, TikTok, TV, everything else, oh my gosh, I thought making $500,000 a year was a good living, but geez, I guess I still suck because I don't have a yacht and a helicopter and all these other things. Like, that's the thinking he gets pulled into. But you really need to start pretending and acting as if you're already there. And then you have to ask yourself, well, you know what? If I had physically shaped body the way that I want it, what would I do? Well, I'd probably be eating better and I'd probably be working out. Well, I better start doing that. And over a matter of time, you do those two things, it's only a matter of time till you have the body that you want. One of the other things about discovering your full potential is there's 3 types of people: those that can help you, those that can hurt you, and those that don't matter. So how do you know what type of mind you got? Look at the people around you, because you are the 5 people that you spend the most time with. And you say, I've heard that before, but why? I just told you. If you're talking about, oh my gosh, let me tell you about the umpteenth story of Trump on the news. Let's talk about, why the mortgage rates are the highest that they've been this year. Let's talk about, if you keep putting your attention and focus on that, you end up being in those people. And watch, how many of you can think back to high school and the same people you used to hang around with are in the exact same shoes and are like, oh, well, you're the lucky one. No, I knew what I wanted. I looked at my family, and I'll tell you the secret to it. I looked at what everybody had in my family. I'm like, I'm determined not to be like them. So I had to get around people. There was a billionaire in Dubai that I used to spend a lot of time with. Every time you'd hear people like, hey, how was it buying a McLaren online? How was it buying that Rolex? And I'd be like, hey, what are you reading? What's the last book? And I would grab this, and he would just, what's amazing when you go talk to successful people and ask the right questions, they love to share their knowledge. But what we've learned, and probably a lot of bobbing heads because I don't have my camera based on sharing the PowerPoint, is that when you get around those successful people, they're just like you. They have the self-limiting beliefs. They have the doubts. They have those things, but they pick themselves up and they go, no, not today. I am getting what I'm going to get. The only reason I achieved the things I have in my life was because I went absolute certainty. I am going to figure this out. There is no lose. I am going to win or die. That's the mentality every single time. So I'm going to try to wrap this up because I said I would stay within 45 minutes. What makes up our thinking? Being present. Many of us are having a hard time being present. And I'll use the best example. How many of you have driven home? And some people say, well, I've had an hour, 45 minutes, half hour, 2-hour drive home. And by the time you got home, you're like, I don't remember a single thing from my drive. And the reason being is because you weren't being present. You were too busy thinking about the future. You were too busy thinking about the past. You weren't present. And so that's where I share with you that, we've heard all those different things about life as being present as a gift and all that other stuff. But being present is where it's at. Accepting where you're at. This is where I'm going to be. It doesn't mean based on the past that I'm destined for this or that I'm destined for it in the future. Here's where I'm at. Here's what I want to be. What's my action plan that's going to get me there? And so that's why, why is it so hard to be in the present? Because again, I'm one of those, I hate listening to audiobooks because while I'm driving, I'm like, oh, my mind's wandering. I haven't even retained that information. That's why I like physical books. But we're talking, well, I did this. Had I gotten a better grade, had I been on a different team, had I done this, I would be doing the $60 million list and I'd be the icon on the stage. I would be the one with the massive team. We spend all of our time in this past. And the reason I put this picture up is because life is like riding a bike uphill. And the reason I say that is because you got to keep pedaling. But here's what being present is so key to you. This little arrow on the right there behind the biker, those are moments in your life that have happened in your past that you're still carrying around with you today. I'll use my own life. I literally growing up got the living crap beat out of me on a regular basis. People would know it. And anybody that asks, no, I don't do drugs. I'm not an alcoholic or any of those other things. But I literally, the stuff I could share with you, but like, there's no way. But what some of those people do is they constantly live back there. And what ends up happening is you constantly take those past moments and you propel them into the future. And you wonder why you're on this hamster wheel, the same exact life, the same exact success. The other thing is you think you've arrived. What happens if you're pedaling a bike uphill and you stop pedaling? You start coasting backwards. So you're either growing or dying. You're either going uphill, and it is hard. That's why I was telling you, to get a $16 million plus listing, you have to be able to master the small things, because again, it's the repetition of all those things that you've done that gets you to there. People will go, but I need a $16 million listing. Something in the universe is telling you you're not ready yet, and you need to be taking in the wisdom, the knowledge, the growth mindset, being present to be able to be ready for it when it's time. Because too many times success comes to, think about this, kids today, and I'm not knocking the generations or whatever, each generation has done it, right? So our generation was like, well, we don't want the kids to have the struggle, so we're going to give them all the technology, and hey, don't worry about working and all that. Be a kid, enjoy this. And then you have more 24, 27-year-olds living at home, and you'll hear them, yeah, but it's more expensive today. They've already validated why they're in those shoes. Look, I was 18. I was living on ramen noodles, Kraft mac and cheese saved my life, and a lot of times without milk. Pizzerific pizza, I think it was like $5 a large pie, and man, that was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was tough, but because of understanding those things, it made me where, hey, whatever happens in my life, guess what? I'm adjusting the sales and getting success. We have programmed these people, don't worry, we're going to take all this and make it easy. And without the struggle, people currently struggle. So this is where the thing I really want you to think about today is how much of your past baggage that you're bringing into the future. So I got a first homework assignment for you. Tonight, I want you to drive home staring in your rearview mirror. And some of you will be like, whoa, okay, Chris, like Roger, this time out. And I don't mean really do that, but it's a metaphor, because some of you are living life staring in your rearview mirror. And why did I give you the homework assignment? Because if you were driving home staring in your rearview mirror, you'd crash. And what do you think is happening in life right now? You're too busy staring in the rearview mirror. Your windshield is the biggest window in your car for a reason. Sure, you look at the side windows. Sure, you look in the rearview mirror to learn from the past, but the focus is on the front window. But in life, we're too busy. But back then, you don't understand. But if I had more education, if I had a better spouse, if I had more money, if I had all those self-limiting beliefs to make you feel warm and fuzzy to accept where you're at. So one thing that I want to touch upon, because I said I was going to touch all areas of life, is the one thing I really want you to do, and I know Chris well enough that he'll probably steal this. We want results rather than reasons. Because when you give reasons to yourself, all you're doing is validating why you are where you are. And so we love to be right in life. Yep, see, I told you I couldn't be icon. Yep, I told you I couldn't be top of real estate. Right? See, I told you that I was on the wrong team. Yep, see, I told you I couldn't do a $60 million listing, because we have to be right. So my second homework assignment for you is I want you to go home and polish off all the trophies of every single argument you ever won in life. I mean, there's got to be hundreds, thousands of them right in your house, because we argue like the Super Bowl trophies on the line. And come the end of the day, we want the result. We don't need to be right. We judge everything. It's just how we're wired. We have to be right. You don't understand. I'm fighting. This is my freedom, our freedom, like Braveheart. But you know what? I just want the result, whatever it takes. You know what? I will act like I know nothing. Please go grow from the people on this call. Go find people that have what you want. Ask them. And I promise you, if you let go of being right, because if you ever watch a monkey in the jungle and they're swinging, right? They've already let go of the branch before they are, and their hands out for the next branch. But we're too busy holding on to that past branch going, no, but I want to get here. And the biggest key, you have to be able to let go and be able to go forward. So one of the things, and I use this as an example, and the reason I'm going to already say it because Maggie's on the call, is that I love teaching because it brings me back to my own center, because I say this stuff and we all get away from it. But a lot of times we've heard from our significant other, I don't feel valued or appreciated, right? And so the reason I use this example, because every class, thousands of people I've ever trained, they, oh, yep, you've been in my house. And so I just wanted to show you that whether you're the male or the female or whatever the story is, that as that person, let go of being right and just focus on the result and how you can do that. So, for example, I don't feel valued or appreciated. Let's say it's the woman saying that. A lot of times, well, what is your definition of feeling valued or appreciated? That's the first question you got to ask. Because a lot of times we've already put a name or, well, what we did, I buy you this, I do this, I do that. We start defending ourselves. If we really care about that person, look, help me understand, what's your definition of feeling valued and appreciated? And so a lot of times, and no knock on them, it'll be like, I don't know. I wasn't ready for that question. Because all we know is we wanted it to be different than what it is. So now some people will already know, well, I want a hug. Well, great. Here's the question. How many of you, if sometimes you just wanted them to initiate affection or something, but I'm not doing it till they do it. I'm going to prove them a point. Look, if you want to hug, go be the person to hug first. Never have you probably gone to your spouse to hug them and like, get off me. We don't do that stuff here. No, but we'll fight. No, you didn't initiate a hug, so I'm not hugging you, or I'm not making dinner. I'm not, all those different things we've done. Now, the guy, on the other hand, the same thing, right? Hey, I don't feel valued or appreciated. We tend to defend, but if we would just say, look, I'm sorry, I really do my best to make you happy in life. What is it that you're looking for? What could I be doing to make you happy? Because I really work hard to try to do that. And listen. But a lot of times, like I said, we're so stuck in being right. And that's my little relationship tip. I fail at this a lot of times, and this course always brings me to it. But we got to let go of wanting to be right. I care about the results. And so, hey, if you need me to be the bus driver, great. If you need me to be the person that's opening up that door, great. Whatever it is, I want the results. So that's where I tell you about setting those very specific goals. Let go of being right that, oh, I can't do it and everything else. There's a quick story here, and I'll just tell you the Reader's Digest summed up version of it. There was Will Smith back in the day was at a psychiatrist, and Will Smith's very prideful. And the psychiatrist said, look, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to draw me a man jumping over a gate. And so literally he drew a stick figure and a little gate and then an arrow over it. And he goes, this is a man jumping over a gate. And the psychiatrist said, look, if I told you this was wrong, he goes, what do you mean it's wrong? It's a man jumping over a gate. And so he's like, and the guy kept going back about 5 times. And Will Smith said, I was about ready to jump up and punch this guy because you can't argue me. This is a man jumping over a gate. Psychiatrist reaches up, grabs a dictionary, opens up the dictionary to the word gate. A gate is an opening from one space to another. He says, you drew a door. And every time I've done this exercise, everybody draws the same picture. A gate, that's why you've heard the door is a gate. It's the opening. And he just sat there, he's like, oh my gosh, I was about ready to hit you because I was so stuck, because all arguments and disagreements is nothing more than a misaligned definition, right? Well, I don't feel valued. Well, it's just a misaligned definition. One word typically too. That's why I love that story to be able to share. Goal setting, attaining goals is a lot easier than most people think. Why do so few people do it? Because they already did it one time. But if you look, and I use vacation as a good example. The last time you all took a vacation, you knew where you were going, how long you were going, how many swimsuits you need, how much money you need, all the details before you ever got to that trip. Yet the things that you want in life, icon, I want to double my real estate, deals. I want to be $16 million, whatever those things are. You have not set the goal. You'll spend more time planning a vacation than the biggest things in life and then validating yourself why you're not there. So why do few people actually accomplish the ones they really want? It's because they have taken their eye off the prize. So one of the stories that I'll do with you, and I'll do it quick because I can't see you all with this, is I tell people to hold their hand, and you can all do this. Hold your hand in front of the camera so that you can still see me through the screen. And what ends up happening is the camera is your goal. It is me, right? And then these fingers. And so a lot of times if I tell you stare at the camera, are your fingers blurry or clear? And you go, well, my fingers are blurry. Great. Your camera is clear, right? Now adjust your eyes and focus on the fingers. Now your camera is blurry, right? Or I'm blurry in the background. Now I want you to look back to that camera. That is your icon award. That is your $16 million listing. That is being Realtor of the Year. That is whatever that goal is. These fingers are nothing more than your problems, your worries, all those different things in life. That if you are finding yourself staring at your problems in life, your goal has become lost. So when people say they feel unmotivated or lost or whatever, it's just they've taken their eye off their why. Why do I put my feet on the floor every day? Because people will fight harder to keep what they have than to get something they never had. That self-limiting belief of going, you know what, if I don't sell a house, I lose my house. You will watch people work their butt off to be able to get that minimum commission check so they can keep living in that house versus, well, why don't you sit there and put on $1 million listing or $16 million listing in my next 5 years or be a millionaire, whatever those things are. And you start being more certain in that, watch what starts to happen. But what happens is when people go, hey, this year you're going to be icon, right? And so you're like, okay, yeah. and then you don't go through the actions, and then you don't achieve, and you're like, well, you know, icon people, they're stuck up anyway. They think they've arrived and done all those things. You start validating why you missed the goal. And when you start to, like I said, always use that hand. Am I staring at the problems? That's why my goal is blurry. But if you keep your eye clearly on the goal where you're going, I promise you, you will sit there and get it. And that's why it says you will feel lost when you take your eyes off the goal. And a lot of you, because he asked about bringing the jumper cables, have honestly lost sight of your goal. You haven't shared it with your significant other. You haven't shared it with your upline. You haven't shared it with your closest people to you to say, I need you to hold me accountable. No if, ands, or buts. My butt is getting on that stage for icon. Law of attraction. You think about what you bring about. Again, one of the things, one of my favorite articles was in Success Magazine, and it was Mario Andretti, the famous car racer. And he said to him, he says, they're about ready to wrap up the interview, and he says, what's your tip of success? And Mario Andretti sat there and looked, and he goes, keep your eyes off the wall. And he sat there and started to get up. He's like, whoa, wait, what does that even mean? He says, where your eyes go, your hands will follow. He says, most car racers are afraid of crashing into the wall. So where do they put their eyes? On the wall. And only a matter of time. How many times have you found yourself driving, you're looking, all of a sudden you're coasting off? Your hands will go where your eyes follow. If you are not staying focused, that's the positive stuff. Your reticular activating system acts like a heat-seeking missile. Everything is about me achieving icon. Everything is about me surrounding myself with me and all those things. Everything is surrounding me with where I'm going. Stop staring. What if I don't get this listing? What if I don't get icon? What if I don't? Well, guess what? You're going to hit the wall. It's absolutely critical. Last couple slides, and I'll give it back over to Chris, is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And you go, why is this so important? To help people discover their full potential, you have to realize that you have all of these needs in life, right? The physiological, the breathing, food, water, sleep, homeostasis, all this other stuff. Safety, the security of body, of employment, things like that. Love and belonging. We have a need for friendship, family. Esteem, self-esteem, confidence, achievement, respect of others, right? And self-actualization. Morality, creativity, spontaneity, problem-solving, lack of prejudice. You understand the hierarchy of needs, the stuff at the top that we're not even putting, the acceptance of fact, the lack of prejudice, becoming a problem solver, being more spontaneous, being creative. All of those things are absolutely essential. Self-actualization. That's why they say, look, when you get your $16 million listing, like many of you will on this call, when you get there, you're like, my gosh, I can't believe I'm here. It's because you never, ever, you let go of all those other things. And you look at the people and go, I was in your shoes. I had the self-doubt. I was second guessing myself. I had the self-limiting beliefs. I had all those things. But trust me, here's what I did. And the other people will be like, yeah, that sounds too much like work. Yeah, that's too hard. Getting up early, that doesn't work for me. Going to the gym, yeah, that doesn't work for me. You start to validate all the reasons why you can't. And so one of my favorite quotes, love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. And the reason I bring this up is because you can't give away something you don't have. If you don't have love in your heart, you can't give love. If you don't have the abundance mindset, you can't be able to pull that stuff along. So that's the kind of stuff that I really help just touch on to say you really got to start becoming a sponge and grabbing all those things that you think you're lacking and going, look, I may not have it, but I'm going to get it. And now you can give it away. Because one of my favorite quotes and why I'm here today, why did I spend 45 minutes here, is because I believe legacy is planting seeds in a garden that you'll never see sprout. I don't know what the impact of this conversation is going to have to some of you. Some of you might share this with your kids and they become top real estate agents and icons and multimillionaires and everything else. And I'm, not going to be around. And so the whole idea of spreading love and faith in this world is so key. And so I'll finish up with my favorite quote. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give our people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And it's from a great book from Marianne Williamson. And the reason I love this quote is because you owe it to your teammates, your family, your friends to become the best version of you. By hitting icon, you now inspire those people around you. Celebrating the successes like Chris did in the beginning of this call should be inspiring you that, hey, I too deserve to be on that platform. I too can make this happen. And so when you start to take on abundance and realize that you having success, your kids inadvertently start picking it up from you. They start learning, because believe it or not, man, how many times with a little infant, they start saying words, you're like, no, that wasn't what I wanted you to learn. Go be who you want to be. Act as if you're already there. You are already multimillionaires, icon achievers, huge, massive teams. Step into your greatness. The time is now. Be present and just know that this is your time. Leave the reasons behind. It doesn't matter why you don't already have it. Today starts now. Zig Ziglar was 45, most unsuccessful guy, and at 45, his career took off. And so I tell you, I don't care what age you are. I don't care what your background is. If you decide you want it, you absolutely will achieve it. So with that, these were the things we talked about. In summary, beliefs, patterns, fears, programming, the types of mindsets, the power of subconscious, successful versus unsuccessful, types of people. Playing small does not serve the world. We're all meant to shine. And so it's your turn to actually start goal setting, start chasing results rather than reasons, being present, become the law of attraction, giving what you don't have. And like I said, my favorite quote, our deepest fear. So with that, Chris, I'll hand it back to you. I hope I didn't go over, but with that, I hope I added enough power and jumper cables to your meeting, and hope that I was able to put some inspiration in some of your lives.
Absolutely. This is a hard topic to really kind of just keep it cramped to like a 45-minute conversation. I mean, this could go on for days and can go really into a rabbit hole. I think this was the most undervalued, underspoken pieces. Without, like I said, the mindset is my space. I live in it. I breathe in it every morning. I am the guy like you. I have to wake up and convince myself that I am amazing. Yes, unfortunately, I'm not the guy who wakes up that way. So yes, it's a constant daily reminder, and it's a daily routine. So I don't think you can talk about this stuff enough. I really don't. And there's never going to be a point where you're like, hey, I'm good. I've reached the pinnacle. I no longer need that anymore. Then you're kidding yourself. And I think this is a piece where as we're constantly growing again with life, we're having to keep that up with that growth to match that constantly and to survive. So again, I know a lot of us may be in fear. For many, many years, I didn't want to have this conversation. And there's a reason why, because I didn't want to face the skeletons in the closet. I didn't want to make changes that I knew I had to make. So thank you for bringing this to me today. I appreciate it. Again, I hope this is of value to everybody in the call. I think right now, given our circumstances in life where we're at, everybody has a struggle that we don't even know, right? You don't know what people are going through right now. A lot of people don't talk about it. They don't share it. The reality is we're all here for you. If you need something, please feel free to reach out. Maybe on a private thing too. It's something you want to talk publicly. It's a private thing, reach out and we can talk to you one-on-one kind of thing. But we're here, definitely here for you guys, no matter what you're going through at this point. Roger, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And yes, we do got to get you out here and maybe fly out to Hawaii and have you do an actual event where you're getting like a 1 or 2 hour little conversation. I'd love for you to pour in. So anybody got any questions real quick for Roger, or any insight or feedback for Roger before we take off here?
That was awesome, Roger. Great job.
I agree.
I saw you on stage in Cabo. You were great there too.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you bringing the fire.
I get fired up about it. It's hard to, that's why I said it's as soon as I get into it, and Chris says it, like there's so many avenues you can go down it. And so I'm just so passionate to just continue to pass the message along and help people get what they want.
Yeah. I mean, if everybody kind of really opened up their space in this place of curiosity and allowed themselves to be vulnerable enough to maybe open this porthole up, you'd be surprised of what you really could develop and grow into. And I was gonna make a joke about the Will Smith thing. Obviously, I think his therapist might have been would have been Chris Rock. Maybe that's why he slapped him. I don't know. Anyways, that joke. On that note, and thank you all for showing up. I love each and everybody in this call. I appreciate everybody in this call. Roger, again, it was fire. Thank you so much. This will be recorded. I haven't recorded. I'll put it back on the Team Freedom Facebook page and on the Google Classroom. So it'll be for you to watch over and over and over again. Thank you again, Roger. Everybody have an amazing week. Go out and crush it. And yes, look at the front windshield. Stop looking at the mirror. We got this. All right. Have an amazing day, you guys. Love you all.
Thanks.